Good morning, friends. It's me, Cheryl with Inked Pulp, and I am back. There we go. I can see live now. Oh, I gotta clean my mat again. It's getting really dirty. Don't have anybody here yet. Happy Father's Day. I did one more thing to our card from from yesterday. I don't know if you can tell right off the bat or if it's pretty subtle, but excuse me. I thought that the map faded too much into the background, and so I put some shadowing around it to make it pop a little, look a little more three-dimensional. So that's all I did. And I just took a regular number 2 pencil and I very lightly put the pencil down very lightly because I didn't want to press hard and make indentations in the card. So I went very lightly, and then I used one of these tortillons, and I just went around and blended that pencil out a little bit. So very light, you don't want to make indentations, and then blend it out, and then it kind of makes it look like that's standing up off the page, and I love those splatters. And then I cleaned up some of the glue around. So that was yesterday's. And I see we don't have a whole, we've got one person in here. So I will wait till we get a few more people in here. For the one person in here, if you would say good morning, that would be wonderful. I'm going to do a show and tell today. That's going to be today's, not actually going to make anything, but we're going to do a show and tell. So who's here? See if I can get this camera so that it's a little bit straighter. There we go, and I've got my coffee. So today's Father's Day, and we may not see a lot of people in here today if everybody is, having breakfast with their dads, their hubbies, their sons. We may not see a lot of folks, which is why I wanted to do a show and tell. And I also, as we get more people in here, I want to see, I was going to do a sale tonight, but I had forgotten all about Father's Day. And so I want to make sure there'll be people around or see if we need to reschedule it because it is Father's Day. We'll see what everybody says. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And my one person who's in here, thank you for being here. Several years back, and I was doing these back in 20. So let me see if I have them. Back in 2012, anyway. I was doing these Zentangles. Oh, one more person here. So I was really into doodling and doing Zentangles, and I was working on my Marguerite Miller challenge yesterday, and it was asking for doodles. So I pulled out a few things and I copied them onto coffee dyed paper, so they're kind of grungy looking. But these are some of the doodles that I did, and I have books of them. So I thought I would just do a quick show and tell this morning. Come on, focus. There we go. I thought we would do a quick show and tell, and then I have this one. And then you'll have to see my Marguerite Miller challenge to see the other ones that I did. But I thought I'd flip through. This will be a short one because I need to get upstairs and make breakfast for my hubby. So let me get started, and hopefully we'll get some more people coming in. This is a mixed media book that I started on and was doing kind of like full page Zentangles. And so I just wanted to share with you some of the Zentangles. These are all hand drawn, all patterns. And what I'd like to do is maybe scan some of these. Oh, hi, Stacy. I'm just getting started. Today is going to be a show and tell because I want to do it quick because it's Father's Day and I want to get upstairs to spend some time with my hubby. So I'm showing my doodles from many years ago. These are like over 10 years ago. So that is the first one. And again, all hand drawn, just different patterns in different areas. I like this one a lot. Look at that. Isn't that fun? So it's got the kind of the rope coming around, going underneath here, and then back up on the other side. And then these remind me of little, they remind me of jellyfish is what they remind me of. And then I did one with some color. I can't even fathom today sitting down and drawing like this. I mean, the hours and hours and hours that I spent. And then I did some flowers on a string and colored those in, colored in some of the little squares. And then these little guys are so cute. And again, that's not a stamp. I drew those. I should probably make stamps out of some of my doodles. This one reminds me of a purse. And probably because it's got this part here that looks like it kind of goes in, and then a little bit over here as well. Oh, hi, Cheryl. I'm just doing show and tell today. I'm showing some of my old doodles. These are all hand drawn. Did them many years ago. And I came across the books yesterday and I thought, oh, I haven't showed these guys. So maybe I did a lot of shading in them to make them pop a little bit. And then I like this, the Leaning Tower of Blocks. This is one of my favorite designs to make. This is really a lot of fun. So I put that design in every one, and then I added some shading to make them look real three-dimensional. And then I just filled in the spaces in between. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm thinking about making some digitals. Should I make digitals and sell them? Oh, this one. I love this to death. This has probably got to be one of my favorite doodles. And I did a lot of shadowing, and to me, it looks like this yellow part sits up on top of all the little bubbles down below. And that's because of all the shading, but look at that. These were done with a pen. I use a real fine point pen. And then the shading, I've got a little bit of green, a little bit of like regular pencil in there. And then the yellow. I've got a couple shades of the yellow. But doesn't that look three-dimensional? Like you're kind of looking down into it. I love that one. This one, simple little flower. I just drew 4 little circles and I drew a line around them, and then I just started filling in with these little, they're almost like paisley shapes, but I put flowers in some of them, and then, just an abstract Madonna. What, this one? Yeah, you can see so much in these. They're like whatever you think. This one was fun. This is all colored. I like this technique too. Just made a, someone told me I should send this into like spoon flour and make a fabric out of it. This, my lollipop land. I love this. It's so whimsical. So I put down here, imagine how many little spirals I had to draw down here. And I just would sit for hours and draw spirals. And then I made this little border piece and another one up here. I love this pattern too. And then in here, I used just little tiny circles. And then I, did all these shapes and I've got a little border around them. You can see line, dot, line, dot. And then I did the curled ribbon. So it looks like it's, curling this way. And then I put big spirals on the top with that remind me of the peppermint candies. So this is my lollipop page. This one, just a little bit of color right in the middle. I do have some empty or some white space up here. I could fill that in. I'm not going to because these are so old. And if I didn't do it at the time, if I did fill that in, I would do like this, where it's just dots, just little tiny dots of ink with the pen. Come on. Focus, focus, focus. There's too many patterns. See the little tiny dots? If I were going to do this part, I would just put little dots in there and kind of fill in the background. But lots of fun shapes. Look at in these little areas here, how fun those little shapes are. And then some wavy lines and some boxes. This is a fun pattern. More spirals, S's, leaves. This one's fun. Just some random patterns. I like this blue one with the splotchy. Looks kind of like an amoeba in there. But just some random patterns, and then I, use lines to fill in around it and colored in the patterns. Looks like peacock feathers right there. Yeah, see that? Oh, I like this one. I wasn't sure if this needed some color, maybe, but I'm not messing with these now. These are what they are. Um, I did them. Look at these little tiny line flowers. I like the spiral look a lot. I still use that a lot in my, oh, this is a fun, look at this pattern here. Looks like little funnels going down. And then out of the very top, I put some leaves. This one, I just had a template with all kinds of different size circles. And so I just drew circles all over my page. I filled it in again. These are just the little dots that you do with an ink pen, just dotting it. And then I drew patterns in some of them and I colored some of them in, added some shading. It's funny, I haven't done this in so long. If I sat down now, I'd probably really struggle with it because I've forgotten a lot of the patterns. And when you do something over and over again, it makes it easier. And then another one that's just a page filled with, black and white. This is like kind of like a spider web almost. This is the page that I used in my my Marguerite Miller challenge. The prompt was sound within a pattern. So a pattern that makes you think of sound. And I thought this one really, I was like, kind of starts in the middle and then the sound waves just sort of go out from there. So this was my sound within a pattern and just all the different little patterns in there. What do you guys think? You like this kind of stuff? Oh, this is a double spread. So this, I like this one. Now, I did use a stencil, I think. Did I use a stencil on this? I think I might have used a stencil for the flower shapes, the big ones. And then I just filled them all in. The little ones, I believe I drew those on my own. But I think these, I'm not positive now, but I think. So there's that one. Now this one, I put my hand down on the page and I drew all around it. And then I just sectioned it off into different spaces and drew my hand. Do you think I should make these into digitals and put them in my Etsy shop? This also was a stencil. I just drew some hearts. It almost feels very unfinished. But that's what I did, and so that's where I'm going to leave it. Oh, now we're getting into some. This definitely was a stencil. I had all the leaves and the lines, just the lines and the leaves. And then I decided to do a fun pattern, just kind of a, a wavy line across the middle. I drew a line up the middle and then a wavy line. And then did, lines on one side, plain on the other with colors. This was just an empty space in the middle. And rather than put the swirlies, I decided to, draw the extra lines, color it in. Yeah, put them in the shop. I may have to do that. And then look at this one. Oh, fun. This one I bought at a thrift store. I had a little bag and it was full of plastic shapes like this oval, this star, this little star. I had some circles here. And so I drew the big oval. I drew around them and I just laid down all these shapes and I overlapped them. Here's a triangle. I overlapped the shapes, and then where they overlapped, I put in different pattern. So you see I have this oval in the green, but then there was a star in the middle, so I put yellow. This was kind of a cloud type shape, and then I drew a circle over it, so I put something different where they overlapped. Oh, this was a little piece of candy, like a little peppermint, that I drew over the star. And so, again, I put something different in it. Lots of shading on this one. You can see all the shading around here. So this was a fun one. This was just a whole bunch of different shapes. And the first thing I did was I drew them in pen. I drew the outlines of all the shapes and overlapped them. And then I just started filling in. Like you can see even down here, here's a portion. Come on. Here's a portion of a circle, but it overlaps here. So I put something different where it overlapped. So that was a lot of fun. And I think that's it in this book. I need to pick this up again and do some more. So that's my full page pieces. Then when I was working in corporate America, I used to doodle a lot because I would be in endless meetings. I would be on endless conference calls. Oh, this is also my design book for my jewelry. And I would doodle in these meetings in various books. Like this is from July 2012. And then I cut those doodles out of the books that they were in and I put them in this little one so that I could have some smaller ones. Like, look at that. And if I sold them as black and white, you know, people could fill them in on their own. Looks like we have somebody else joining. This is August 2012. This kind of reminds me of a little angel in here, but I'm not sure. Again, it's all whatever you see in it. And then this little one. Some of these are really little. You can see I had long meetings if I could get all that done. And then this bigger one I did. These remind me of birthday candles on a birthday cake around the edges. This doesn't look like a cake to me, but the edges do. And then I did this one. This one's actually in pencil. Little flower with some leaves. Then again, these are all hand drawn. A little flower with some leaves. Angel or granny. Yep. Oh, look at the bunny. I'm not very good at drawing living things. This was September 2012. But I drew this little bunny and then put some stuff around him. I did this one. This almost looks to me like a family crest because it's sort of mirrored on both sides. And then just some flowers and leaves. These are all in pencil. I was playing with flowers a lot. Here's another flower up here. Here's another one. Here's a brightly colored one. I took some markers, I guess, and colored that one. And that's not my favorite design, but it is a design, and I did it. This one's kind of fun with the little hairs sticking up on the top of it. This also reminds me of, like, there's an angel wing. And then the front, I don't know, in some ways that reminds me of a little angel. And then I have one where I just did little flowers and then just filled in the background. I don't know what this reminds me of. What do you guys think? This part up here kind of reminds me of, I don't know. I don't see anything in that. Do you guys see anything in that picture? And then I have this little one. I really like this one a lot. Then some more, just pattern, a flower. This reminds me of a golf tee. So there's the tee and there's the golf ball. So this is the tee, you know how it comes up like this, and then the golf ball sitting on top of it. That's what I see. This is a pretty one. This is real intricate. That one was done in pencil, all pencil, different shading. Conch, shell, and other stuff. Was that this one? A conch shell. Oh, I could see that. And then here's the opening right here. Yeah, I could see that. Ooh, look at one in purple, purple ink. I know that looks blue on the screen, but it is purple. Have any of you ever done Zentangle? And not all of this is Zentangle, like the little flowers and stuff are not, but some of the other stuff is. And there's some more. This reminds me of, these look like cat ears, and then just an abstract cat body, and then the tail wrapping around the front. That's what I see when I see that one. Maybe two eyes right there, and then just the body and the tail. Would you guys be interested in doing a couple of sessions of some basic Zentangle so I can show you some of the shapes and how to do some of this? Yep, the cat. And here's just a bunch more little ones. You guys could get a piece of paper and work along with me. Oh, look at this little girl in the middle here. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but she's got a crown on her head. I don't know what this all's supposed to be. I was just drawing. Another flower. You would try it? Okay, well, maybe we'll do a session one of these days. And then some more there, very abstract stuff. More there, and just playing with shapes, so those little hairs sticking out of them again. More shapes. I like this one. This is almost like a rose and then some wild leaves around it. Look at this one. Isn't that pretty? Oops. Almost like a great big chrysanthemum. And then just some funky little shapes. Reminds me of funky mushrooms. I like this. This reminds me of a swan. You see the body here and then the wings coming out here. This reminds me of a swan. I got some little hearts and another little shape. This one's kind of fun. Oh, I like this one. What do you guys think here? I guess that's some kind of a flower. What kind of flower would that be? Oh, okay. So you can go in and put the shapes, but it's so much more fun when you draw your own shapes. This is a bell. That's what I see here. With a little bow on the top and little flowers or leaves coming out the side of it. I like this one. Simple, but just draw some leaf shapes and then put different patterns in them. What does this look like? This to me is kind of like a vase with some sprays of flowers coming out of them. I don't know. This is fun. I was actually doodling over the top of one of the reports from my meeting, and I just did lines with big circles at the end of each line, and then I put little dots. Oh, hi, Barbie. I'm going through, today is just a show and tell, and I'm just going through some old doodles that I used to do. We're getting towards the end of them. You can watch from the back of a head with a scarf. Oh, so there's the back of the head and the scarf over the top of it. I like that. Here's another one I think looks like a purse. These are all, Barbie, these are all doodles that I did back in the early 2000s when I used to work. Here's another one of those with the big circles at the end and then just all the little dots in between. And so I thought I was doing a Marguerite Miller challenge, and I pulled out one of the doodles that I had done. I had pulled out this one. Yes, like 1920s. I agree. I had pulled out this one and used it in my Marguerite Miller challenge, and I had important staff meeting. Well, they all knew, and I actually was more efficient in the staff. Well, they weren't staff meetings; they were like project meetings, and I was more. Well, some of them were staff meetings. I was more efficient. Oh, hey, Mike. Yeah, I went through. You'll have to go back and watch from the beginning. These are the little ones. These are the ones that I did when I used to work, and I'd sit in meetings. And yeah, this one. Oh, it took me days and days to finish. I don't know if I could do, like, there's the very first one in my book. And so those are all just little shapes, all hand drawn. But this one that I just showed, oh, this was my hand that I drew and then just put all those shapes in it. And I love this flower. This is the one. So yeah, this is the one I used in my Marguerite Miller challenge. So you'll have to watch it. It comes out tomorrow morning. And I use this piece in that. Yeah, I'll go finish going through this book, and then I'll go back and flip quickly through the other book. So if people don't want to watch the other book again, they can drop off. Oh, give me a thumbs up, please. So where were we? Here, I said this looked kind of like a purse. This reminds me of a snake a little bit, all curled up. There's some other bigger ones that I did. Look at all those. Aren't those fun? This reminds me of a tape measure. Just winding all through that. This reminds me of a pea pod with little peas in it. Oops, let me get it down in the... During meetings, when I was a art teacher at a middle school, they just expected me to draw. Yeah, that's what the people, in fact, at the end of the meeting, people will come up to me and say, okay, let me see what you drew. And it got to be a thing. And I was fully engaged in the meetings. I was participating. I just had to keep my hands moving. I've always had that sort of creative thing. I like these little guys. They look like little beehives. Aren't those fun? Oh, this I was experimenting with. Look at that. 3D like a piece of paper. These did? Oh, yeah, no, they're doodles. They're truly doodles. This page had a border around it, and then there's some like mustard color text down here, and I just doodled on the upper corner. I like this look with the, it almost looks like a shoelace going into shoes. Birthday candles. And then back to this shape again. This is one of my favorite, and it's so easy to draw, but it's one of my favorite shapes to draw. Here's some flowers. I didn't finish putting pattern in all the ribbons. But like I said, I'm not going back and doing anything to these because these were the original pieces. This reminds me of a stuffed dog. Like there's his face, here's his body, and then he's got some wonky stuffed ears. That's what that reminds me of. So for those of you who just came in, I was saying that maybe on one of our sessions we could do some of these. One time, just do some basic shapes and you guys could follow along and learn some basic shapes. There's a fun one, kind of complex. Another one that looks like leaves and the little beehive flowers. This was like my 1, 2, 3 clover, 3-leaf clover. Oh, I love this one. Look at this. Isn't that fun with the shading and the... colors. I really like that one. Just some other ones. Oh, look at the little wonky house with all the flags sticking out of it. Isn't that cool? Some are much better than others. Here's a new technique I was trying down here. I like that. And I don't know what that is. I don't see. Does anybody see something in this? Here's your Rorschach test. Anybody see anything in this? Oh, the fairy house back here? Yes. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to scan some of these and sell them as digitals. This reminds me of a theater. So these are all the backs of the heads of the people. The stages, so these are the people sitting in the audience. Here's the stage, and then this is the curtain coming down or going up, one of the two. That's what that reminds me of. Do you guys see that? Do you see the stage? A duck. Oh, I see the duck. This is the bill and the head and the body and then the little tail there. I do see a duck, Mike. Thank you. Do you all see the duck? And then I've got a little fan. This also reminds me of the top of the Statue of Liberty with the little points. A pinwheel that I colored in. Now, I don't know what this is, but it's really pretty. I really like that one. This is another one of my favorite things to make, and they're so easy. It looks complex, but they're so easy. More leaves. This kind of looks like another duck, Mike, with the the beak here, or some kind of a water bird. I don't know if it would be it would be a duck. And then around here, and then the body here. And the letter N, I don't know why I drew that, but I did. These look like earthworms to me. All round up. And then there's some leaves, a little cluster of leaves. Oh, very cool. And this is just some open shapes that I did. A little butterfly in a starry sky. Here's this one that I had photocopied onto the coffee dyed paper to use. I didn't end up using it in my collage, but now I have some more to use in one of our projects. I also copied this one, and I did use this in my Marguerite Miller challenge. And then this one is this here on coffee dyed paper. These remind me of vertebrae. A keyboard. Little flower, some more little flowers, more leaves. I do a lot of leaves and flowers. This reminds me of a goose. A goose's head. Do you see the eyes right here? And then this would be like the beak. The beak would be down here, up here, and then across here. And then the neck coming down. That's not what I intended it to be when I drew it. Or an ostrich, yep. A goose or an ostrich, one of the two. Some kind of bird. But do you see it? Do you see the eyes and the beak? And that was not intentional when I was making it. That's just how it came out. And then just some more little paisley shapes and leaves and flowers. Ostrich, yep. It's a steampunk goose. Reminds you of seashells. Okay, and that's all I have in this one. I have more to paste in here, but that's all I have in here. So if you want to stick around, oh, I'm going to show one more time this. I made one additional change to this. Can anybody tell what I did? It's very subtle. If you were here in the early, right when I started, you will have seen this. But do you see the shading? I thought the map blended into the background too much. So I went around and shaded all around the map so it sort of popped off the page. And that is just the way I do that. I just take a pencil, just a regular old pencil, and I go very lightly. Not, you don't press on it because you'll press indentations into the page. So you just go very lightly, and then you take one of these tortillons and go around it and blend it out a ways. I usually go in circles and blend it out. And that adds a little bit of shading. That's how I did a lot of the shading in the on the Zentangles. All right, really quick, let me run through this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because we've been through it, but these are my full page. That one goes that way. These look like little jellyfish to me. And some of these are really, really intricate. This reminds me of a purse. Here's the side of the purse there, the side over here, and this is the top. My leaning tower of blocks with one of my favorite patterns on the inside. I love that pattern. Oh, thanks, Barbie. My favorite of all time, Zentangles. Doesn't it look like you're looking down, like that yellow is sitting on top, and then you're looking down into the bubbles below? I love this one. Some paisleys and flowers. I like this. Reminds me of the 70s. Flower power. And this is my lollipop page, maybe from the Wizard of Oz. The lollipop kids. We are the lollipop kids. Abstract Madonna. I'm not seeing where you see the Madonna. I'm not seeing the Madonna. Now, I'm sure all I have to do is find what you're seeing. Dr. Seuss, yeah. I don't see the Madonna in here. Does anybody else? I don't know which way she would be pointing. I don't see it. Maybe we need to get on a voice chat and you point it out to me because I'm not seeing it. And then there's that one. Some of these don't feel like they're completely done, but wish you could paint. Oh, this is just drawing. This is just doodling with a pen and pencil. Some abstract shapes and some colors. Here's this one. I didn't like this one when I was doing it. It feels too choppy, like the parts don't flow, but it is what it is. This was just a bunch of circles, different size circles that I drew all over the page, some on top of each other. And then the background, you see all these little dots in the background? Those are just little pen. I just took a pen and just went all over the page and put dots in there. And then I filled in pattern on all the circles. There's another full page spread. That one could use some color, but again, I'm not going to. Here's the one I showed you. This is what I used. And what this was for was the prompt was sound in a pattern. And I thought, sound in a pattern, what in the world? And so when I looked at this, I saw sound waves emanating out, from the middle. So that's what I use that for. There's the flowers again. There's my hand that I drew around and colored it all in. Or not colored it, but drew it. This one seems very unfinished, but it is what it is. Some hearts. Now this I did use a stencil to make the hearts. This one I also used, I had a big stencil that was just the vine or the stems and the leaves. And so I drew all the stems and leaves, and then I started filling it in with pattern. And this orange part, orange and yellow in the middle, this was it was just a natural shape that was formed here, and I just filled it in. And then I did these leaves kind of half and half to give them some interest. And then in the middle is a bunch of different spirals, and wherever the spirals didn't touch, I colored in with black to make it look like they're sitting on a black background. This one, and this is the last one, was I had a bunch of plastic shapes. They were like masks. Like you can see the oval there, you can see the star here, you can see a circle here, you can see this blue is like a cloud. I had this one kind of like a cloud, a star. There's a triangle back here. This is a little piece of candy, like one of those little peppermints, another circle. So I just had all these shapes, and I just laid them down and overlapped them. And then I started putting texture in. And where they overlap, I tried to do different things so that you could see the, division. Like if you look really carefully, you can see this line goes all the way around. It comes around here and it goes all the way around because I changed the pattern. Same thing with this one. You can see the circle goes over. And then the same with this one that's got the cloud shape. You can follow the whole line because I changed the pattern. So even in this triangle, like if you look, you go down here, you see that star has different patterns, goes across the bottom and then up, and then where it intersects with this star, there is a line there because the pattern changes. So you can see the whole triangle, but you can also see the whole star. So that's my show and tell for today. I do have a question since we have 6 in here. I was going to have a sale tonight, but I'm thinking about postponing it because today is Father's Day. And I just don't know how many people we're going to get. I mean, even this morning, we don't have Big Mama. We don't have Mimi. We don't have, who else don't we have in here? I can't remember everybody who's in here. But we're missing, a lot of people. And I'm thinking people are spending time with their fathers, with their husbands, with their sons. And I just don't know at dinner time how many people we're going to get. So what do you think? Should I postpone it to either tomorrow night or next Sunday or one night this week? Please give me some input. I'm just thinking that tonight might not be the best night. Yeah, I think I'm gonna, thank you. I got one that says tricky. I think that people are going to be busy, and a sale is not going to be high on their priority list. So I think I'm going to send out a notice and reschedule. I'll have to look at the calendar and see what looks best. I'll try to do it one night this week. But anyway, I just wanted to come on and do a show and tell. And I'll do another show and tell, but then you got to come back and watch the video of me putting it together. Here's the Marguerite Miller challenge that I did. And here's that doodle. Here's another doodle. And here's another doodle. And so with Marguerite Miller, you get prompts. You get a list of prompts, like a piece of furniture, a doodle, something that makes sound in a pattern. And so that's where I did that. An eating utensil, a list. I used the prompt list, and the bonus was an illustration, and I got a sticker illustration. So that was my Marguerite Miller challenge. If you want to see me making this, it'll post Monday morning at 12 a.m. and then it'll be up. So that's what I use. That's where I found the doodles for. All right, folks. I'm going to let you go. Happy Father's Day, Mike. I don't mean to get to pry. And if it's too personal a question, just say rather not talk about it. But are you a dad? If you are, happy Father's Day. You don't even have to answer. If you're a dad, happy Father's Day. And with that, I'm going to reschedule tonight's sale. I will let you know, and I will be back online tomorrow morning for another Art Before Breakfast. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Give me a thumbs up if you would, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, well, happy Father's Day, Mike. I don't like to ask questions that are too personal, but happy Father's Day to you. I hope you have a great day. All right. Bye, everybody.